So I think we are live, and so I welcome you all to this weekly development meeting of Meshery. I think this is the last call for this month. But yeah, there are a couple of things that we'll be discussing, including the contributor-facing training sessions. That will also include some schema-driven development that we have been following, a couple of new opportunity that we'll be sharing, a couple of CFP to submit, and a lot of other things we'll be discussing in this meeting. So once again, I'll share the Google Docs link. That's the meeting minutes for this call in chat so that you all can go write your name in the attendees. And yep, if you have got any issues or pull requests that you're working on, you simply also can add them into this topics. So we'll be sure to discuss them. And since today we don't have so many items, it can be that we can cover yours if we have not been able to do so in the previous calls. All right, for now, you all can write your name in the attendees, like I said, and we'll also be following our tradition of letting newcomers introduce themselves. There are a couple of links that are shared in the Google Docs itself, like our Slack community. If you're not part of it yet, please do join that through the link that's mentioned in the header. Also, this meeting, it's being live streamed on YouTube, so you also can catch up with, if you want to, this meeting or any past meetings. And there are other links too that you can, for example, you can follow our social media handles, so on and so forth. Today, let's take a look at the participants and see if we have a newcomer on the call. And if we do, I would encourage you to quickly introduce yourself. I don't think we have any newcomer on the call today. Then we'll simply go to the standing agenda. And there are two components that we usually discuss. But for CLI, Matthew is out. For UI, let me take a look if we have Amit. Yep, we do. So Amit, would you like to discuss about this?
Yeah. Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, so for UI migration, we have this spreadsheet where we track all of our migration that we did in the UI. So we have two migration that currently we are running. One was the Axios to RTK migration for the Messery UI, and the one was the schema-driven migration for the Messery UI. So there are not much update regarding those two migration, but the one migration that we did on the last week was like the MUI migration. So we are not currently running on the Material UI version 6. Previously we used the version 5. So now all the UI was on Material UI version 5. So that was one update for the UI migration. And for the other migration I created, I updated the previously created issue for this is a GitHub issue where we track all the UI, like the high level of the UI migration. So for that, like I added some of the migration like the Next.js upgrade or the React upgrade and also like the TypeScript migration. So these are like
Yeah.
the higher level summary for the migration. And I also created some sub issues for that, like if let's suppose I have to migrate, anyone wants to migrate like the next JS version, so they can like follow this particular steps, and when they done with those step, they can check mark and like it is I summarize like all of the features that are in the migration that we did, and like why next is 12 to direct 14, because like they use the same React version, so it is easier to move skip the 13 version. And yeah, if you see like all of the steps, so anyone wants to work like this is the structure plan for anyone wants to beginner, they can work with this. And like similar way I created for the TypeScript migration as well, for how they can proceed with the mesh record base. And also like I mentioned how we can use the schemas repo for the RTK query generation and the types that we get from the schemas repo. So yeah, and the similar way I created like the how anyone can migrate the material version 6 to 7, and also I added some prerequisite like if we want the React 18 plus, then after that we can move with this roadmap. And one thing I added was like let me open this issue. So currently we use this MUI data tables library that was deprecated and not much deprecated, but not maintained by the maintainer. And also like it used the older React and Next.js version. So are that it is like if we going forward with the latest version, then it will create some trouble. So I propose like we should migrate to the latest and maintain the material React table library. It has like the multiple extra feature, and it is like currently also uh, maintaining by it is a lot of other feature with the table you can see from the documentation also. And yeah, and I also added the step for how we can like adding those component into assistant, and uh, list down all of the tables that we use into the other UIs, keep it into the one place. Like we can use the sheet for uh, like structure all of the component and show the status of like are we migrated or not. So and gradually we remove this older data table library with the newer one. So yeah, this was the migration plan for this one as well. So yeah, this issue was majorly like the migration. Like put it into the order wise, like what we want. Like with the higher priority was like the next and React was too much outdated, so we want to like first finish those, and after that the MUI version 7 migration. It will not took much time. So yeah, and after that we can move forward to the TypeScript one and the Node.js migration we can do like, and also like the data table migration. So I put it into the uh, order wise, like which has more priority. So yeah, that was like the call for volunteer. Like anyone wants to work, like any one of this issue, like they can work like even if they able to finish like any one task, like not carry forward because this
Good,
all
great.
migration was like
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt it. We've just been going on. Great. Is there anyone on the call? If no one is on the call that's gonna pick this up, it's not worth kind of going through the rest. So it's actually a good thing to ask right now. Is there anyone ready to and capable of picking up this? This is well laid out work for what needs to happen to upgrade. And with the MUI V6 upgrade just having been completed, this is great to keep that momentum up. So again, I'll ask, is there anyone on the call that's interested, ready to, and capable of taking on any one of those tasks? If so, speak up. Don't just say so in chat. Speak up.
yeah, those are like really big one to migrate. Like if anyone wants to like having the small chunk, like adding some dependency and make sure like anything not break, and like even they want to finish only one, two, or like they can also like chime in, like they can work on this particular issue. Like
Okay, so like, am I audible? Uh,
yeah.
yes. So actually, I have also like experience in like React. So I think I can also work on this. But right now the thing is like I am also working on the for like a issue of docs, and also second issue was which was UI related. In the last call, like Vivek mentioned about the UI, adding that. So I am also working on that. So I'm interested in that, but I will finish that. So after that, I can.
Yeah, so whichever issue you want to work, like just in the sub issue, like mention the maintainer that you want to work, and after that we can assign those issue to you. Like, yeah. thank you for volunteering. Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started from the next migration to the next full key, but like as we discussed previously, maybe we have to do it step by step, which things to migrate first. And I think they have something called incremental update or something like that. So maybe like is that part clear, or like if I have some help, I can also do that because like I have more like I'm contributing on my free time. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be helpful. Yeah. Yeah. So like that was all like.
I can also help with this. I just need to see which issues I can work on. I will let you know in a second.
Yeah, sure. Like just uh ping, just like mention in this issue, so we can track.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Next up would be update like notification of like this milestone that we're having in GitHub, and that's for point 9. I'll be sharing that link just in case you want to take a look. And then we have contributor training schedule, where we have successfully conducted about six of them, and they are like their slides and recording. They are available on our community forum and also on newcomers page in the website. And like tomorrow, we will be having this session on Meshery server, which will be basically be on the topic that the name suggests. And then it's like I just want to ask from everyone if we should be having more sessions, and if you have some topics in mind, or if you like to volunteer for taking these sessions, or what should be our way forward from here. If anyone has any suggestions or feedback, you can sound off right now.
Oh man, that's
All right.
great. That is great. That means that there's no more, everybody here is comfortable with the area that they want to contribute in. Right. So there's no questions needed of other maintainers for like how to contribute in an area. Right. That's good news. Is that true for everyone? Has everyone gotten a chance to think this through? Voice your perspective. Has anyone attended any of these training sessions? Should we keep doing them or just tuck them away?
Hello, Louis. This is my first development meeting, so I haven't joined any of the contributors training. So kind of new.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
would really appreciate any of them, especially the number 8. Would be nice as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Number 8 ends up being, well, I take it back. I was going to say somewhat user facing, which is great. Although it's not, we need a user facing session for how to use models and understand what components are and what relationships are. But actually, yeah, this particular topic is how to create new models. So yeah, it'll be a juicy to say the least.
Lee, I wanted to say something regarding like the training in relationships too. Like I'm currently working on the Azure side only, so I'm having some troubles over there. Like exactly relating how like it is given according to Kubernetes model, but regarding other models and all, like some of the things there are not clear in that documentation too. So maybe.
Yeah, okay, good. So just
But
in
rather than this, like this initiative is really good because if like someone is new to this, they can always reach out. Like see, also this would be available in YouTube too. So this would be like this is a very good initiative, I would say.
you'll get there. I'm hopeful we might be able to get your name on one of these training sessions in the not too distant future. Actually, like the concept of creating a model and generating components, just like those first two, you're getting quite comfortable, or like you might be there at some point to be able to offer that knowledge to others. You're right that that third part about relationships, it is harder. Not only does it require some domain expertise for the particular technologies involved, but well, it's just more complex, a little more complex.
Mm.
And so, okay, good. Yeah,
Also, like if someone would like to like develop a annotation model only, so in that also he could include relationship, and that would be a good like flow chart or something design that.
yeah, that's a great call. I totally agree. Right? That like starting with an annotation only model or a model that doesn't contain orchestratable components. I don't think orchestratable is a word, but I like to use it. Yeah, right. Okay, that's good. By the way, so for Richards, your first name is, do you go by Richards or do you go by something else?
Richards,
Yeah, Richards. Okay, very good. Where are you calling in from, by the way?
I'm calling from Nigeria.
All right, very good. Yeah, good. Thankfully, one of those West Africans. Okay, good. Whew. I
Yeah.
thought,
Oh, so just a quick question. Yeah, I can see most of this training was already passed. April 10, 17, 24. Is there possibility of having like um a rerun of any of the meeting, like future dates?
do Pratik or Vivek, do you guys have, what do you guys want to respond?
Yeah, so for all the past sessions, there's already like slides and recording available, and it could be that we retake these sessions in future, maybe 3 months from now. But for now, like you can catch up with the resources that we have included on our community forum, and also in the newcomers page on community. I mean the newcomers page on Slide. Very soon we are also working on getting them into a YouTube playlist, so that way it will be available to you conveniently. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. That's clear enough.
So you guys will share a link in just a moment. Pratik, you will, so that yeah, everybody can go back to take some self-paced review. So not only the meetings, but the slides as well, the materials as well. Okay, that's great. Yeah, great question. Thanks for speaking up, Richards, by the way. You did so despite it being your first time here and everybody else being too shy to speak up. So this is good. Our relationship's off to a great start. Cool. And then, yeah, Yogender, I'm with you. Thanks for the feedback about models and the various aspects in which things can get a little bit hairy. So it's not like the topic of models expands a little bit into components, relationships, connections, credentials, and in the future, in the future, you'll hopefully be able to bundle a monitoring profile inside of the model, potentially a workflow definition or other types of policies, I should say. I should have just said in the future, you'll be able to bundle in policies, and there will be different types of policies. One type being workflow centric, another type being monitoring or alerting centric. And so another thing you'd be able to bundle into a model, if you can imagine, like when someone were to import an Azure CDN model, that maybe there are some best practices for how to use Azure CDN, maybe certain routing rules that that you should use, or certain, And so the inclusion of a design, a Meshery design, or a couple of them inside of a model can be also very helpful to propagate around and to have as part of the Azure pack, if you will, or like as part of that model. So yeah, it's you're right that it's I guess things are only going to get more sophisticated. Well, hey, since I'm speaking and since I'll just go on to the next thing. We got some announcements to go over. So one of those is that yesterday was the deadline for KubeCon North America 2025. That's coming up in November. So it's a ways off. It's being hosted in Atlanta, Georgia. Meshery will be there participating. Hopefully, by the time that November rolls around, Meshery will be an incubation level project. So Meshery is Sandbox currently, which makes it super impressive that Meshery is the 9th highest velocity project in the CNCF out of a couple hundred. And that's thanks to you all. There's nearly 30 of you on the call. So and most of you are familiar names, which is good. And it's also good to see new names, both. So anyway, I digress. The announcement was that along with KubeCon, every KubeCon, there are 3 or 4 days of official KubeCon conference, and then tacked on to the side of it, usually perpending it, is a day of co-located events. So maybe an event on a specific technology. And so if you'd like to give a talk about Meshery or any of Meshery extensions, or whether that's a technical talk or one on community or one on security about how we do the project, or what, like there's a ton of topics, and there's a lot of co-located events. All of them are relevant to Meshery, or Meshery is relevant to all of them. The last one in the list, called WasamCon, WebAssembly Conference. Meshery's done a lot with WebAssembly. Meshery orchestrates WebAssembly filters for Envoy, as an example. The Platform Engineering Day. Meshery is an engineering platform, a self-service engineering platform. Tofu Day. Meshery shows you how you can do something better than tofu. That one might be a little aggressive, but Meshery is somewhat, well, it'll ultimately be complementary to OpenTofu or to Terraform. Like it will have the ability to orchestrate not just Docker Compose files and Kubernetes manifests, but also Tofu. Sorry, I'm digressing again. That was the announcement. So if you've got things that you think that you might want to talk about, you got a little bit of time for each of these, do it. I encourage you to. The worst thing that can happen is that you spend some time improving your English by writing something out, formalizing your thoughts, and it doesn't go forth beyond that. So do it. The best thing that can happen is you could change your career. Yeah, go ahead.
Lee, I'm just curious. When you talked about OpenTofu and Terraform, is there by chance that Meshery have its own equivalent ACL?
Yeah,
Like an ISC that we can use for Meshery?
Yeah, I think it's debatable that you could make an argument that Meshery has its own HCL, so to speak, its own infrastructure as code, its DSL, its own domain specific language. The way that you would make that argument is to say that there's such a thing as a Meshery design, and in that design, you open it up, and it can just be a wall of JSON or wall of YAML that describes how infrastructure should be represented, configured. And so you can make that argument. Our focus is largely that you don't have to do that you can free yourself from the chains of YAML by doing things visually, or hopefully a little more intuitively through some of the built-in relationships that are described between different components. So if you have a Kubernetes service and you have a Kubernetes deployment, they readily magnetize to each other because they are often deployed in concert. One affects the next one. And so Meshery is aware of those things. And anyway, we're trying to up level the game from DSLs. We're not saying that you can't do that or that's wrong to do it. To each their own and do it, and you can do so with Meshery. We just don't focus a lot of time on giving examples on how to write that out, but you absolutely can. So yeah, can be, yeah. Depends on it depends on what you feel like arguing that day, I suppose. Well, good question. All right, so a couple of other announcements. Is Yash with us? There is a Yash with us, but they don't have a last.
Yes, I think that would be me.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, you are a Yash, but you're not the Yash that the voice.
Yeah, I'm not that one. Yeah, sure. Sorry about that.
No, that's great. Actually, if you have your webcam, I would even be able to tell very readily. All of you are encouraged to turn on your webcams. Like, please, like, let's connect. Like, especially if you haven't brushed your hair, let's really connect. Please turn it on, because otherwise we're just gonna have a hard time connecting, and I won't know what Yash that was because I won't see his face and I won't hear his voice again. So that'll be a shame. Anyway, there's a couple of other Yashes here. Actually, two other Yash Sharmas. There's like hundreds of Yashes here, but two Yash Sharmas that have different roles in the community. One of them is a maintainer and has graduated from some of our internships here and now works at DigitalOcean. He's a maintainer of Meshery. He's helped us get some sponsorship from DigitalOcean to get some credits within DigitalOcean's cloud so that we can use Meshery, or we can use their services to help improve the project. Along with that, there's some other things going. Oh yeah, they've just signed up or made official themselves as an adopter of Meshery, which is great. That helps with Meshery's incubation status. Okay, lastly, so I'll move on. There's five new LFX internships were just posted last night, I think. Well, my last night. So these have been posted for a little while. They were just approved and went through the system. So they'll be up probably for a week longer than any other CNCF projects will be. That's because Meshery's special. I say that somewhat jokingly. The Meshery internship is the #1 most sought after in the LFX, which is a reflection of how seriously we take the internships, what we try to accomplish in them, and how well supported people are. So anyway, if you're here for one of those, good, then you're doing the right thing by being on this call. I talk to hundreds and hundreds of people each week about these, and so often people we try to give them what they're asking for and they just don't come get it. And so come get it. Good. That's it for me.
Yeah, so all these announcements, links to all of them are shared in chat just in case you would like to take a look. I think finally it's time for us to move on to the topics, and the very first topic is from Nikita. So Nikita, are you all set?
Yes, I am. Let me share my screen. Right. Yep. So like 2 weeks ago, we briefly spoke about the development in MeshSync, how we implemented a version which do not connect to NATs, but rather outputs Kubernetes events into a file. And there's a further development. So the initial idea is that right now, if you want to get cluster information, we need to deploy additional piece of software, which is MeshSync, as a separate deployment. And we would like to give users an option to only go with the one deployment, which is Meshery server, without any additional software. And yeah, so for this, we need to do slightly enhanced MeshSync functionality. And yeah, this PR is actually implementing this enhancement. in particular, yeah, it was like 3 updates to Meshery, which covers in this PR, which I will briefly give you introduction to. So the first one, so like right now we have like this big, I mean, the main is not big in Meshery, but like it's actually called sub function. It's like a big juicy function. And if you wanna call Meshery as a library, we need to put it somewhere. So like we just like moved all this main content like under package lib Meshery, and it's like run method, which is literally just a copy of this main function. The second enhancement is that like we in Meshery right now we have like a 2 output modes, right? Nuts and file. And if you wanna call Meshery as a library, then we need like one more output mode. And we implemented like an output mode into a Golang channels. So like we have like in Meshery there is like a writer interface. And yeah, in this PR, we implemented this writer interface to write in Golang channels. Like it's not very big one, so it's just receiving like a Golang channel, and whenever it receives a write event, it's put it into this channel. And update number 3, which we need. So Meshery right now, it communicates with Kubernetes through Kubernetes API, and the current version is capable to connect, is capable to read your local kubeconfig, or if it is running in the cluster, it can read like a kubeconfig from the cluster. But what we need to do here is we wanna to provide a custom kubeconfig, and yeah, this is the third update in this PR. So like right now, we have few places in Meshery where like there is like we call in our internal mesh kit and providing just nil parameter. And I mean, like I'm not going into mesh kit, but like it signals to our mesh kit libraries that like you need to pick up like local file or to check the cluster. And yeah, in this PR, in this couple places, as you can see, we implemented a way that we provide the kubeconfig file content, and Meshery is able then to connect to specific cluster from this kubeconfig. And yeah, this is all about the latest updates. Like, if you have any questions, yeah.
And Nikita, I'm good. I do. The crew plugin, are you saying that the crew plugin is created and delivered, that we will? Yeah.
No, but like this PR is like.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, this PR is also like not only for this like embedding Meshery, but it's also will be useful for crew plugin, because like how I see how we can arrange a crew plugin, so it will be like in a separate repository, yeah, according to our logic, like with Meshery extensions, and it then like can just like import Meshery as a library and just call this like just call it, and yeah, then it will be the whole functionality of crew plugin. Okay, then
I think, yeah, because like, most of the functionality now directly has been will be embedded inside the Meshery. So I think the plugin would be pretty simple. I think at most might just like submit the kube config to the server or with the embedded param probably. So I think, yeah, like the plugin now would be simplified because most of the logic is now directly inside the server,
yeah,
or used
yeah,
inside the server.
kinda, yeah.
Do we have Nikita, have you demoed this running as a library in Meshery?
I did, yeah, I did, but like not on a development call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's great. So, do we know what the next steps are for enabling that as a behavior on the connection?
Yeah, so like there's like one more development on the meshing side which is like not in this PR, but like yeah, it's like in my fork. Yeah, so it is like about like this like halting routines, because right now it is not. It is kind of like this like routines leakage. So it is not in this PR. So, but like if as soon as we merge this one, I will probably create another one like with only this changes. It is the first one, and the second, what you're talking about, Meshery and connections. So there will be probably lots of small things. So first of all, we need probably we need like to add somewhere like this like flag. How are we going to deploy? How are we going to use MeshSync like as a part of a Meshery server, or deploy it like a standalone? And yeah, so we should probably receive it from API. Like I mean, like so user will have like a functionality, yeah, in its like UI to be able to deploy MeshSync as a standalone or as a part of Meshery server.
Yeah, one place that we might be able to expose that, or that you might be able to readily expose that, is within the mesh config or the Meshery CTL context, potentially as a configurable parameter there for a particular. Oh boy, well now I've kind of opened up a can of worms. I guess I was going to say for a particular Meshery deployment. There's a little bit of a presumption that Meshery deployment like would be for a single cluster.
Yeah. I was thinking like maybe we would just put it as a preference inside the connection, Kubernetes connection, like this thing. So it will be for individual connections or clusters.
But this will require interaction with the user, yeah. So like user can see like connections in it, and he or she could decide like how to, okay.
Yeah, whether they would like to use the embedded version or like the distributed, but they would deploy the meshing.
And also like going further, like for example, like let's say by default we have like distributed, because like I mean like it's how it's working right now, yeah. But like so the user comes and say, okay, I want for this connection to be like embedded, and in that case we need to undeploy, yeah. There's like MeshSync, and then like if
clean up MeshSync in cluster, yeah.
And then like if they decide to switch back to distributed, we then deploy it back. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhitli and Nikita. Next topic is from either Yoginder or Lee on ASO operate like model. So will either of you like to cover this?
Yeah, sure. So there was something like I wanted to understand about the relationship thing. I have a certain like idea about how I would be like implementing relationship, but in the doc section there is something. Just share my screen. So in this relationship, we have something like this patch strategy in most of the things. So what would be this like? Currently, this is the basics, the most basic relationship, that is the namespace to namespace components. I'm trying to understand this thing and the.
Yep. So yeah. So what? Ask the question again.
Like this is the basic relationship.json file, and I do understand like how this is working, allow from to and everything. But inside this, what would be this patch strategy? Like for I understand this from like from all of these things, like asterisk would be for a while character. So from everything, it should be inside a namespace. Like from this, but what's this patch over here?
Well, yeah,
So
I mean,
like the
everything that's namespaced, every component that's namespaced, and if it isn't namespaced, then it shouldn't be. That component needs to carry that, and that's an attribute inside of Kubernetes resources, like whether or not they're namespaced.
Okay, so this patch is a like a component inside the Kubernetes, we're saying.
No, I'm saying under kind, where we were saying that there would be an asterisk to support all.
Yeah, that part I get. I'm asking about this one, like this, what would be this patch thing over here?
Yeah, no, I get you. I understand
so
what you're
patch
saying,
is
but what you
like
said earlier was inaccurate, right? You'd said that it should match all components, and I'm saying, well, like, no, it shouldn't. And maybe you don't want to talk about that. Maybe you just want to talk about but yeah, no, it shouldn't match
Yeah,
them all.
yeah. Go ahead. Can you repeat about this thing also?
Yeah, okay. Well, in Kubernetes, resources have a property to determine whether or not they're namespaced. And so only namespaced resources or only namespaced components should match. It should be included. And so it might be that there's a from that has an asterisk here, but that there's an explicit deny that rejects any components that don't have that attribute.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, we do have that attribute. From other namespace, it couldn't be.
Nice. And then I interrupted Abid. He was going to answer your question about the mutation, the patch strategy.
so I like the patch is kind of the meaty part of the relationship. So like because without the patch, the relationship is just like we have a relationship, but it won't have any semantics like what is meant to be in that relationship. So like in this case for the namespace relationship, what the patch dictates is like when the two components are in this relationship, a namespace component is inside a namespace. That means that the configuration.metadata namespace, that's the namespace field of that component, should match the name of the namespace that's it inside. So there should be somewhere else the name like the inside the mutated ref would be something different. That would be the name of the namespace. So for the any other relationship, it's that what it actually means to be in that relationship. So like if you have like a pod inside a like not a pod, like if you have a network relationship between a deployment and a service, then it would the mutated refs would be pointing to the ports that the deployment is exposing to the service or like where the traffic is coming from. So this is like the meaty part of the relationship which actually dictates what happens to the components configuration when the two components are in a relationship.
Okay, suppose like this is the one you're talking about, that pod to deployment.
Yeah.
So this is the
Yeah.
from part, like the service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over here would be mutated ref. So
Yeah, to the port, and the like the selector should be matching the, and then it would synchronize the target port with the container port.
target port to the container port alert. In Azure, it would be a little tricky then. Okay. Then, also, like one more thing. So this hierarchical, this would be the first relationship that I would be working on in Azure. So could I do something in this? Like there are multiple models currently in Azure, 42 models. So could I do something like suppose this is the display name. So Azure aspect. So it would support for all models. Would this work in that?
Yeah, it's supposed to. Yep.
Because otherwise I would have to create 42 models for the same thing, like for the specific resource group part. Resource group would be the parent in this Azure thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing about it is, you might end up yeah. Yep, I'm with you. That makes total sense. Here's one caveat to that to consider, and that is if there's 42 Azure models, and I use Azure, and I use a fair bit of the services. As it turns out, we just don't use Azure's logging service at all. I would use something else. And so I'm just never going to use it. And so I just don't bother importing that model for logging, just a random example. And it so happens that that's the model that contains the single relationship that you created that affects, that has this resource group relationship. So then it's like, oh, wait, then what you're saying is the CDN model will behave correctly and interact with resource groups correctly. Oh, only if you have loaded up the logging model too. So that there's a rub there to think about.
Like, are you talking about the credentials part or something? Yeah.
No. No, wait. Nope. Wait, try to repeat what I had said again. I don't. No,
Like, let me be specific with this. Like, currently, if we see this thing,
what I'm saying is if you create one file that has a powerful relationship that affects any number of other models, that can be quite good and very appropriate. If, however, a model like, as an example, Azure CDN, if it needs to also benefit from resource groups and being able to relate to resource groups, what model are you going to specify that powerful inter-model relationship within? Which one are you going to package that in?
like Azure CDN also needs to be connected to something else.
I don't know why you're not answer my question, because that'll lead you to the answer you're speaking to. I don't know.
Can you repeat again the question?
Okay. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I've done it twice, two different ways. Okay. Well, here, answer my question. Yeah, good. So yes, that asterisk is supported. And then what model are you going to include that in? That file, the relationship JSON file.
I'm actually like, I was talking about multiple models could be supported over here only. So maybe I can deny some of them.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Like,
but answer my
this
question.
would
What
support.
model are you going to put the relationship in? This
Okay,
file.
the initial model heading. All right, got it.
No, but that doesn't answer my question. Which model are you going to put it in?
It couldn't be specified to a single model here.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which one are you going to put it in?
I'm saying it. I think it won't be specified to a single model then.
Okay, but then how will people get it? If it has to be in a model, otherwise you can't import it.
Okay, maybe the resource group one.
Oh yeah, there's a resource group one? Yeah, that makes that could work very well, right? Because in order for an Azure CDN component, just as an example, to relate to a resource group, you'd have to have the resource group model available. And if you have the resource group model available, if you bundle this new relationship in the resource group model, boom, you'll benefit from, I mean, the user, will benefit from your relationship definition. And your relationship definition, as long as people have the resource group model imported, all of the other models that may or may not be present, maybe all 42 are there, maybe just 20 are there, but so long as the resource group model is there, all of them will benefit. And that actually makes a lot of sense, and that'll work.
Yeah, like regarding that only. So I was actually implementing it through the CLI itself, the ASO operator. But I saw that I wasn't able to deploy, like, suppose let's say a CDN component until and unless there is a resource group present. Like, we need to deploy the resource group itself via the Kubernetes right now, via that ASO operator. Then only that CDN component would be deployed over Azure. So maybe that would be updated later on from the ASO side, but currently this is the scenario. Like, we need to have a resource group, otherwise it won't be deployed.
Got you. Yeah. You need to be able to, the concept of dependencies needs to be accounted for. Like as Meshery receives a design that it's going to send off for deployment, that there is some logic internal to Meshery that creates a DAG that creates a dependency graph. And and I have to go refresh my memory where and if that the ability to explicitly identify a dependency, and the order is defined. But yeah, that's a very good highlight. Very similar to a namespace, right? Like, yeah, you can't go create resources in Kubernetes and then after the fact say, oh, and put those into this name.
Yeah, because like in all of the YAML files, there's a owner property in that. And in that owner, we need to specify which resource group is there. So what I tried was that like I entered an existing resource group, but it didn't take that. They said that they don't have a resource group definition. So I would need to deploy a resource group. Then only I would be able to deploy any other component that would be inside it.
Gotcha.
So like I would need to research more about this patch thing, like how it would be configured in Azure, and then I'll be updating you about it.
Nice. Yeah. You said you've been through the contributor guide for relationships. However, just because you've thoroughly digested this doesn't mean that it covers patch strategy very well or gives very good examples, or that it covers like the concepts of dependency and how those can be specified. And so, yeah, as you go through, there's probably all kind of opportunity to enhance this or to simplify. Yeah. And so, yeah, please don't hesitate, because both of those are very real, actually all three of those, like what the heck is a patch strategy and what are the different types? What do they do? How do I identify dependencies? And hey, how about these? How can I write these intelligently? Are there best practices for writing a relationship? Like, can I write just one and one model and have it affect the rest? And is that a good thing, or, is that a bad thing? If I can. And so you can. And yeah, in this case, I think you've identified what sounds like a sound approach is like, if you want to have a relationship that touches up against a resource group, well, then you should probably have the resource group model. And so, okay, so long as you have the resource group model, then you will have this powerful relationship that all of the other models can benefit from. So that works out really, great there. But yeah, good. Yogender, thanks for walking us through this. That's exactly what I was hoping that you would do today. So nice. And you're speaking to your experience right now with the current state of the models, where you tried to deploy, I forget if it was a CDN component or something, but what you get back
Like
is
for every other component, like we would need that.
yeah, it's a prerequisite then to being able to even go any further. So okay, good.
Like for AWS, we have the current ability to import a resource from AWS, but right now it is not supported in Azure.
I'm taking away an action item about dependencies and getting some more info published. And Sangram might have had a comment as well.
Yeah, I've got a quick question for Yogendra. So what do you, so you said we can import resources in AWS, but not in Azure. What was that in context to?
Like what I saw in Azure YAML files, for each of the models, there are two specific things, that is adopted resource and one more service something. So when I searched that, it was regarding like we can import like existing resource in AWS into Meshery designs or something. Like, and we can take it into Kubernetes, I would say context or something. Like from there, we can manage that.
Okay. So you are saying you are not able to export Azure resources to a YAML or JSON format. Is that what it means?
Yeah, like that is not supported right now. Like if you would see in AWS, there's a adopted resource in each one of the model. So
Yeah, that's because we have designed it, right? But I think again, I'm not very I'm not someone who understands all of these models and everything in detail. But if you're looking for exporting Azure resources from Azure in a JSON or YAML format, and that can help you, then Azure supports that. Maybe you can take a look at bicep file or a ARM JSON file to kind of see if reverse engineering that can help. And we can deploy resources to existing resource groups as well. I mean, that's possible in Azure. We probably might have to find a way of doing it in case we want to do it, from a Meshery perspective.
yeah. So what currently I tried, like AWS also has its specific controllers that are present, different controllers. So I went to those controllers, and in those controllers there was this option available. Like in itself, the adopted resource, they have provided the Helm chart for that. Am I like?
So
Does that
this is an
sound right?
AWS portal you are saying, is it?
Yeah. If you go to any of the AWS controllers, I think they have provided a, like in the Helm chart, they have provided the CRDs for adopted resource as well, I believe.
Okay. And you're saying
Yeah.
that is not there in Azure.
Yeah, currently that is not there in Azure. And regarding like deploying in existing resource group, yeah, it is possible. But like when I was testing through this particular operator, so that asked for me the definition, the YAML file for the existing resource group, not existing, a resource group. So maybe
Okay.
I'll look into it if I can have a work around that for sure.
You used ASO version 2, right?
Yeah, the latest
Okay.
version only.
All right. I'll take a look. I remember something. I might have mistaken it, but I'll check.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, folks. We are at the end of the call, and so before we wrap it up, I'll quickly share about our calendar. So just like this meeting, there are a couple of weekly meetings in the community that you can be a part of and can make an impact. And so all the resources around that is into this community calendar. You simply can subscribe, and rest assured you will be getting all the updates with the discussions and stuff. So it's there in the chat. Also, the various announcements that we discussed, including PRs and other stuff, they're all linked down into this Google Docs. So you will again find all of them into the Google Docs. I just shared that in chat. And right after the call, I'll also be posting it on our community forum, where you also can catch up with the YouTube recorded version and whatever we discussed. So I think that was all for today. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, guys.